Aloha and mahalo, everybody. Once again, I am back with another story for me to read to you, the ones that want to hear what I got to say about all these strange cases, right here on Insane Disappearances. Sorry it took so long, but it was the holiday, Christmas and then New Year, so I was hanging out with one of my family members who is still here. The other ones, the other two excuse me, family members that was here, they went back home to Brooklyn, my home, well, Queens actually, but my hometown is Brooklyn, New York. That's right, Yankees, White Castle, New York pizza. Whoo, that's what I'm talking about. Don't like, well, anyway. So, but yeah, I know I said before I listed about I think four names of people that I was going to read about on one of my next posts. But I did see a name in here that David Paulides mentioned um, on a previous interview he gave on this radio show called "Where Did the Road Go." Um, this one is about a young man named Joshua Snell, and sometimes I like to read about the names that he mentions that he mentions from his books, during the interview that he gives on Coast to Coast AM or any other radio show that he bees on. Mainly because most of the the impacting cases that he reads about are about the people who had very strange cases. So those are the ones I like to attack. I am going to get back to those names that I mentioned before, so don't worry about that. I definitely will get to those. But like I said, just busy, with New Year's and everything. Going, I went to a party, which was a party slash birthday party, or well, New Year's Eve slash birthday party for a homeboy of mine that's from New York, and his wife, threw him a party, and went to it, had a lot of fun. I brought my cousin with me and everything. We were all just having a blast, so you know how that goes. Um, but anyway, let's get started on this story. All right. Now Joshua Snell, he went missing on 06/12/2005 at 2 a.m. in Eau Claire, Wyoming, or Wisconsin. The WI, I think that's Wisconsin. But anyway, um, he was at the age of 22 when he disappeared. Now Joshua drove into Eau Claire from his home, his home in Hastings, Minnesota, to attend a wedding of a close friend. The wedding occurred on June 11th, and he spent an extra day in town. On June 12th, Joshua went into the downtown bar area of Eau Claire and was drinking at Brothers Bar at 324 Water Street. He called a female friend living in town at 2 a.m. and told her that he stopped by to say hi. He never arrived. At 5 p.m. Uh, at 5 p.m. that night, friends reported Joshua as a missing person. In one of the oldest reports associated with these type of cases, there is one notation I found on a website called Footprints. Wait a minute, Footprints Sather, uh, Save the River, Sadie River Sage, blogspot.com, weird name, that stated one report says that in a cell phone call he made, mentioned he Josh mentioned that he was in a brushy area according to one report. He said he was hiding and scared. That tip led firefighters and police to search the river area. Another article on the KARE 11, that's Care 11 website, dated June 15, 2005, had these details. We were able to locate a shirt that was identified as Josh's shirt, says Arnett. Two shirts belonging to Snell turned up in Owens Park, which is on the west bank of the Chippewa River. Police searched the river in the area and found nothing. On June 15th, 2005, in the evening hours, a couple was canoeing down the Chippewa River and found a body south of the Short Street Bridge. The body was Joshua. In another unusual turn of events, nothing was released that I could find about Joshua's cause of death or his blood alcohol level. When I read about Joshua being chased and being scared, it immediately reminded me of another case of a very athletic man I wrote about who said almost the exact same thing. In that case, he was found deceased next to a creek. The cause of death was never adequately explained after two autopsies. That case is in missing 411. The devil is in the details. Uh, there is there is much more to this story that we don't understand. Why would a mentally and physically healthy 22-year-old man be hiding in the bushes, stating he was scared? How did he get sidetracked and end up in bushes near a river? How did he get from the bushes into the river and die? Once you read once you read my other four missing 411 books, you'll realize that this isn't an isolated incident. Okay, that's pretty much that's it on that story. Like he said in this book that he couldn't get any information on the nature of the body as far as how it looked or the blood alcohol level in him at the time. Like I said, in a lot of these cases that he writes about, these are the strange ones where they no, someone knows that they're going from point A to point B, but somehow, some way between point A and point B, they seem to vanish without a trace, and they can't find anything on that person until they get near water. Then they start finding clothing strewn about all over the place, and but when they get to a certain area, there's still no body. A few days down the road, you have someone walking in the forest or in a national park or maybe somewhere near a creek or a river, and then they see a body floating in the water or maybe on the bank, and that body just happened to be the person that they were actually looking for. Now, in his case, like I said, it was obviously a strange case, and I am betting that when his body was found, he had no clothes on except for maybe his underwear, no shoes, no identification. Okay, which is a very huge criteria in a lot of these cases. Number two, no cause of death. Now, he also stated that he couldn't find the cause of death in any of the reports, let alone find a report stating that there was a cause of death. So obviously, there was something weird about his cause of death that they couldn't figure out. He was dead, but there was no reason for him to be dead, except the fact that he was. Okay, they couldn't find a reason why he died. Now, I have stated this in my other posts in the past, and I think I stated something about what I'm about to say in my last video, that if you can't find a cause of death on any of these bodies, the only thing left to do, in my case, in the back of my mind, is for you to check the brain for two things and for two reasons. Number one, to see if the brain is in the head, first of all, because the body cannot live without the brain. Number one. So I would think if they were somehow remove the brain without damaging the skull, then what other reason would it be for him to be alive? Number two, they use some sort of like mind powers to maybe rupture something in the brain, causing that person to die. Therefore, leaving no evidence behind of how he died, meaning they did this without even touching him. And the only way I could think of that would make me realize that they killed him was they messed with his mind somehow. Somebody or something had some type of mental power where they were able to cause some type of trauma in the brain, which is connected to pretty much every nerve in the body. And he was overloaded with all kinds of pain, and he died from the trauma. I don't know. This is just me thinking off the top of my head, but obviously, if there is no other way for you to, there was no other way for you to say that this guy died any kind of way. The only thing left is to look at the brain, look at to see if there's any trauma in the brain, look to see if it's even there. Now, there was a case that I heard about in the summer about a young black man who left Georgia to become a superstar. He went to Hollywood, but he never made it because they found him dead somewhere deep in the desert in a car where all of his organs were removed. He was disemboweled at every point. Eyeballs were missing, heart was missing, all kinds of organs were missing. He had nothing left in his body. Okay, now how does something like that come about? What kind of person would take that from a person? What kind of person would even go that far as to remove every major organ in the human body? Now, they stated, I think it was a comment or maybe or it could have been a statement that someone made, that there were people in that area of California that sold organs on the black market. So how they got the organs in the first place, I don't know. Maybe they kill people to get the organs. That way they won't have to worry about the cost or anything, or the police finding out about it. I don't know, but they said there's some sort of like organ selling, or some type of organ selling ring going on in California. I don't know, but like I say, with him, that was a very strange case. I haven't heard too much about it yet, but I'm gonna look it up again and try to see if there's any updates on his case. Now, does it match the cases that David Paulides talks about? I don't know. Really, from what I read, it just stated that he disappeared and he was found dead in the middle of the desert in California in a car. Now, was it his car? I don't know. Might have been some random car they stole, and then they just left him marked for dead in the desert in all that heat, and just removed his organs in the process. Now, did they examine the cuts on the body to see if they were made by a knife or laser? I don't know. If anything gets that strange, they normally don't want to touch that. They leave that as a cold case, and then they just drop it, which is the reason why David Paulides obviously can't get the reports on these kind of cases. You know, if it's too strange, they don't want to have to talk about it because, number one, it's just going to show that they don't know how this person died, and they want to keep their integrity, you know, to say, you know, that way people know that you can do your job and find out what happened to my child or whoever else. But if you can't do that, they don't want to talk about it. If they know they can do that, they're going to put that information out there for everyone to hear, you know, or they'll just trump up some, you know, reason why the person died. Talk about, you know, hypothermia or it was an accidental drowning or accidental death. But yet the body showed that it only been in the water for a couple of days, but you've been missing for 2 weeks. Okay, that makes no sense to me. Where were you before that? But there's no evidence to state that you were anywhere else but the water. That's the big problem with these cases. There's no evidence to state that you were somewhere else after, you know, before you entered the water. You know, and there's no evidence to state that you was even in the park or anywhere in that area except for maybe some clothes that were strewn about. But, you know, nobody knows why these people take their clothes off. It always happens somewhere in the winter. You know, some of them do happen in the wintertime, but these people actually disappear without a trace. The other people tend to lose their clothing during I think, from what I can tell, some of them lose their clothing during the winter. But a lot of times you don't know if they lost their clothing in the summertime, if they turned up missing, because there's never any evidence to state any of these facts. So, but yeah, that's my time on this case. I have more coming. I'm going to go back, you know, to those names that I did mention in one of my other videos. I'm going to, you know, go back and I'm going to read those and I'll post them on my next broadcast. So, as always, I want all of you people out there, especially you, KimStar66, to keep your eyes peeled, keep your eyes open, keep your ears glued to my phone, to your phone or to your computer. Watch out for my videos, because I will be posting more. So, as always imparting, aloha, mahalo, and hui ho. Peace out, guys. Stay safe and be blessed. Gotcha.